And that's it, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. I
Hey,
think we're
Steve.
ready.
We're live. Look at that.
Yeah. How you doing?
Roll. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Another episode for us.
Yeah, it's another month. We're here with our digital experience workshop series.
Third week.
And I am just getting reoriented here. I had sort of my side window going and I've lost it. So
no problem.
Jen, just ping me on Teams if there's anything that interrupts our feed.
The link is that one.
Good stuff. Yeah, here we are doing our monthly routine, talking about different aspects of your digital experience to just help you get a little bit better at doing it and hopefully learn a little bit every month so that you're not trying to digest it all at once.
That's right. And this is a really interesting topic because I believe this one's going to be changing every time we do it. Could probably run this one every couple months.
That's true. Because that's true. We're talking about content planning and governance. So go grab the worksheet at flyw.co/dx-content plan, and you will see a PDF that looks like this. We're going to go through this as we go through the workshop here. Yep. But we always give these sheets out just as something to kind of frame the thinking and help you refer to it. Use it directly if you want, but it's more of a leading your thinking here.
Yeah, get the juices flowing.
Yeah. Okay, so back to I've really screwed up. I have to remove and then add. There we go. I think that, and I was on a separate call earlier today about this. When we're looking at content, we know content is king, and I was just doing a workshop down at the Board of Trade 2 days ago.
Yep.
Talking about using AI to accelerate the production of content. And so that's kind of an exciting moment that we're in right now when it comes to
where content
AI
is going to be even more king in my...
Well, the point that I made in the workshop was, boy, it's going to get noisy.
That's why content is king. Great content will be king. Anybody who can get past the noise, right?
And so to bring it back to our list of challenges here, one of the things is that I think it's hard to cut through the noise as well.
Yeah.
Talking with one of our clients about this the other day, we were in an SEO audit with them, and they asked a very good question, which is, I'm jumping ahead here, but what about AI optimization?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have a really interesting answer because I was talking to some people as well. And when we're talking about content online that drives traffic, because that's what I typically see in the beginning stages of marketing, whenever you're sitting customers or whenever people are in marketing's in the room, how do we get that top funnel? And the things that I see right now that I'm seeing more organizations, like friends of mine who are in they're in enterprise,
you have a lot of high
they're in high level. And the things that tend to work are the top 10 reasons why and so that seems to be what people think is the answer, and I completely disagree with this at this right now because it has no foundation to what it is. Now, I don't want to bring up the auto manufacturer that went completely off the wire and created something that had nothing to do with the car. And now they're having issues because they're, it's good to take risks. I'm not saying don't take risks. But again, it's going to get more noisy because AI is going to tell you to do these things that, it gets you a lot of views. It gets you a lot of things. So this is where I think AI can only help in certain circumstances.
So it can absolutely accelerate your production capacity.
Correct. But not your thought leadership.
Well done.
I beat him. I beat him.
And so the question that was posed to me was, okay, so we're doing all this content to get, and for all kinds of valid, good reasons. It supports your PR. It gives your sales team some lead magnets, but it does help when it's done properly with SEO.
Operationally.
Yep. And then how does that translate into the AI optimization landscape now? And my position was, there's no gimmick.
No, you got to get rid of the gimmick, because AI will give you the gimmick if you allow it.
Well, but there's also like the sophistication of those platforms is evolving.
Yep.
And the best thing, in my opinion, you tell me if you would agree with this, is to think much more from a human-centric perspective.
That's my answer too as well, because I see it too often.
Yeah. Is don't worry now. I think it liberates us.
Yes.
Because we're not trying to be so technically focused on like, how do I structure this for SEO?
Yeah.
However, it doesn't mean relax your structure, your strategy.
Correct.
It means be strategic and structured in a way that will have influence on having a conversation with another human being.
Yeah. And I love having another conversation with another human being. When noise really starts to happen, which in all cases lead to around November, December, there are certain solutions that are coming out of the market that OpenAI and Gemini 2.5, which I think changes then, that they allow go-to-market. And I think that noise that's going to come out of there is going to be insane, right? Like, you just think, we're about, like, Microsoft's already doing it with Copilot, which is annoying in its own sense. But where I'm going with this is the human-centric touch is what's left. People, just right now, we're all being constantly, the marketing is this noise already, and we tune it out. So it's only quality content. So, like, going back to what we said, that means what's left is human connection. So I believe videos such as what we do, we're humans. People are going to flock towards human conversation.
Well, I don't necessarily think, like, you're right. But my point was, if you're doing genuine content.
Yes, genuine content.
Then it's actually going to optimize for AI. Like,
correct.
People aren't going to try and get around AI to find the genuine content. That genuine content is therefore going to be surfaced more prominently by AI. Listen, that's a what I think is a well-informed hypothesis. You tend to agree with me?
Yeah, exactly.
We might be proven wrong in 6 months, but that's the foot we're putting forward right now.
So just to take a step back, YouTube. If you've ever gone to have you seen those AI videos where it's like they bring up, Game of Thrones, the dead guys, and they said, "Oh, what happened to you? Like, are you getting a family plan while you're here?" No, I don't get anything. What's funny is people are like, "Oh, AI is going to change everything." The problem is the joke. Is what's funny about those. It's not necessarily just the AI. It's the actual joke each one of those has. People are up in arms because look at the video. And I'm like, yeah, but the joke's so funny, it works. You could have put like some dummy in a
so it allows people to express their creativity.
Exactly.
And it does allow fake videos to be created. But I think it's actually a lot of work to do that. And why not just record your own? Yeah. Okay, let's get back to our presentation. Let's talk about, so we just had that conversation to set context for why you want to think about content planning and governance, some of the pitfalls and challenges that we're facing in the market right now. We're not here to talk about how to build a content calendar.
Correct.
And when we talk about governance, we're not talking about regulations. We're not talking about accessibility. We're talking about how to put the right accountability framework around producing good content,
which is the number one governance in my mind. Whenever I talk about governance, that's what I'm talking about.
So there's other elements that go into doing this well. Related to talking about content planning is the concepts of personas and journey mapping. We talked recently in a workshop about flagship content. Yes, you do want a good content calendar. You want to make sure the content is on brand. And this is one of the things that I was talking about at the Board of Trade the other day, how to make sure that when you do leverage AI, you actually give it the context for your brand so that it doesn't sound like everybody else's content.
100%. You can actually brand the way prompt returns.
Yeah. Quick. Well, all we're doing here is asides today, but you can take your existing collateral that already represents your brand voice, hopefully, and feed that into the model and give it context to say, reflect this tone, reflect this structure, reflect this voice, and it will work.
I remember as a consultant back in the day, we used to get paid large amounts of money to create creative briefs and value statement messages for big companies.
Yeah.
Right. So they could actually produce that for the team. This is our vision. This is our objectives. This is what we see creatively. This is how you want to do it. And you put it in a nice little, booklet, and away you go.
Okay. So why does it help to have the right kind of content and governance around it? We want you to be able to drive conversion.
Yep.
Whether that's inbound leads, sales, other business goals, you might be able to add efficiency to your process. You might be able to support that nurturing journey. You might be able to deflect customer service inquiries. You might be able to help sort of develop closer partnerships. There's all kinds of different reasons, right? And to understand sort of where your engagement is coming from, what kinds of, when you do some experimentation here, you'll learn a little bit more about how your audience is engaging.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Just from Why Bother, because this came up for me again.
Yeah.
When I'm seeing drive conversion, I love all this.
Yeah.
And one area that I think is going to actually become even more important is, brand cohesiveness. Like how many times are you seeing today things that are off brand for the company? You hear the word off brand. And so when I see this with AI, you're going to be able to do whatever the hell you want, right? You're going to have everybody from these teams going off brand. And I think that's where we see optimization. If it's not done correctly, it won't drive conversion.
Yeah. We're all pressed for time, right? So it's definitely going to support that. And there's a hesitation in the market that like, oh my God, this stuff is flowing too fast. I can't keep up. I'm just like, it's not even worth it. But, I've been saying a lot lately, the best way to make progress is to start. If you're doing this already, iterate, right?
And we can show that.
That's right. So what is a content plan in the context of what we're talking about today? What is governance? This is about that theme consistency. This is about intentional direction of your content efforts. This is about the strength of your message, format variety. This is about making sure that when that content gets published, it is on brand, that you have some sort of accountability and ownership for it, that it is robust, that it is supporting your reputation development. Okay, so
I agree
about the quality of your content. That's what we're really trying to sort of drive home in our messaging here today. We talked about that. I talked about hesitation in the market, right? So I talked about the sort of the overwhelm, the tech overwhelm right now. There's all kinds of other reasons why we hold off on doing this. Which one of these do you think is previously, maybe still, the most likely mistake, or maybe the title on the slide is wrong? It should sort of be friction, or
for me, the under planning is going to be number one from content planning, because I still see it every time I have a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
No names. They know who I'm talking about. When you're building out the content plan, we're talking about governance. We're also talking about accountability.
Yeah.
But if you're a big company you're not accountable to all the messaging and putting out all the content, but you need to know who is.
Right.
Like, who is this person, and making them accountable and putting them and making sure they can do their job with that in mind. Because a lot of times it's not in their job description.
Right.
And you're in a bigger company, that matters to a lot of these people. And the other thing is saying, okay, if they're accountable, then we need to teach them. Right. So that's where I find that under planning happens so much more.
Yeah. And I think also one of the pitfalls of under planning is lack of cohesion. You just start spitting out, and you do one thing one day, and then it's a different theme the next day, and it's for this meeting, and then it's for that meeting, or this opportunity or that market. So sometimes you do that, but that should be
so in the content plan, knowing who the person is, or the people, the committee who have to manage that, and knowing that they've got the right tools and know what needs to be, this is our brand.
Right.
You can use AI today. If you've got like a ton of brand, documentation, that should all be there so that they can look it up easily.
So from a classic sense, let's get into how we're suggesting you think about doing this. And it is about making sure so sort of what is and isn't working. At least you have a gut understanding of that. You know what you want to say, who you want to talk to the point you just made. But we didn't talk about where to put it. I think it's okay to understand like sort of how you should say it, and whether or not it's converting. The classic challenge here, right? So we want to solve for a lot of those things, and we're putting measurement at the center of this. So this is often sort of an afterthought, but we highly encourage you to think before you even start about how you're going to measure success. If you don't know how to do that, if you're lost in the woods, give us a call. We've got some tools. And then sort of around that, it's the rest of the plan can be formed. So what do I want to talk about? Let's make sure I'm directing it in the right direction. Let's understand where I'm going to put it. Is it going to be on my own website? Is it going to be video on YouTube? Is it going to show up on LinkedIn? Is it going to be a podcast? And sometimes that channel will dictate the format. And then you want to sort of surround that with your governance structure. So there's the tactical part of content production. But notice we're not even talking about how to write good content here. We're just talking about sort of how to organize it and direct it for efficacy.
Correct. And again, looking at this, one area that when you're measuring content, you also have to put an end date. A lot of times how long content will be up there. So if you measure your content and you have some killer content, right? You created the list of 10 whatever, and it got huge views. It needs to be updated if it serves a purpose.
Good point. That reminds me remember the video that we once did about the difference between a DXP and a CMS? We were getting this question a lot a few years ago, and we sort of did this video, and it was a good sort of anchor for some of the conversations we were having. And good, it served its purpose. We moved on. That video remains one of the most popular ones on our YouTube channel. It just organically gets a lot of traffic. So you're right,
because people don't know what truly a DXP means.
But the point was, you do want to make sure that you sort of have that start and end date. But then don't forget to look back at some of your content that's been there.
How can we repurpose? What can we do?
Okay, let's make sure we don't run out of time here. We do want to keep these contained to half an hour. What do you want to say to that audience? Some people get stuck here. I don't have anything unique to say. I don't know what's going to be valuable. I don't have anything. I don't want to say something that my competitors would pick up on. I mean, okay, just get over all of that. If you're stuck on how to brainstorm your content, talk to your clients, talk to your project team, understand, ask everybody in your team for one question that they heard from a client recently. You'll get a lot of overlap, but I guarantee you'll get something there. What makes your business unique? I mean, that's kind of classic stuff. I'm jumping over the middle one intentionally here. Web analytics, look at where people are going. What are they consuming? What are they interested in? Where are they coming from? What keywords are driving them to your site? That's kind of a tail wagging the dog situation. Like if you don't have content there, they won't find you anyway, but it can help inform like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I do need to fill in a gap and add some strength here. Do some keyword research. What are your competitors talking about? Where's the overlap? Where's the white space? That'll give you some insight to understand sort of where to talk.
And I know once you get, and again, sorry, for the web analytics and keyword research, if you're somebody who's in that position that has to look at content, this is the demanding reason to ask the rest of your organization to give me that. Because a lot of times, and I've seen this in banks, I'm seeing this in insurance, I'm seeing this in very, very, very large media companies right now. I actually asked the question, do you have access to the data you need to form these analytical? They can't get it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So this is kind of the ROI template you use. You need to be able to form content. You need analytics to provide the answer.
Sure. That also, so it helps you do the surfacing of what to talk about, but then it also helps you understand the ROI of your efforts for sure. From a topic perspective, the reason I skipped over the middle one is because the middle one is the one that we find is the most effective for us. How it all works. So if you're delivering a product or a service, it's easy to think about, we got a new feature, we've got it, we've done this great project. Like you need all of that. But when we talk about how we do content planning, how we do digital experience development, it's definitely a value to our space and our service delivery. People need some confidence and understanding that we have the understanding of how to get them to success. So how we do it is highly valuable. But I can say with certainty, with confidence, that this rings true, especially across the B2B space. But imagine a consumer brand talking about what goes into how they build their product, the process, the understanding. Like I promise you, if you haven't started anywhere, that's the easiest, best place to start. If it's been a while, lean in there.
Not to toot our own horn, but that's something I think Flywheel is very specific at, right? You're engineers. So when it comes to the how-to, it really comes down to the fact that when we come in, we're looking at how do we make it so that you don't have to worry about the tasks you hate,
right? And
you worry about what matters. So the how-to is that process that you really kind of automate.
Yeah. And then when you're trying to think about sort of where to direct it, maybe this slide should have gone first, because I think you need to figure this out first and then frame what you want to say. But you're all smart. You're going to be thinking about this as a whole, not in steps, not blind to all the other important considerations. From an audience perspective, you want to make sure that you're being relevant for who they are, that you're delivering them something of value that can elevate their experience, their productivity, their results. And that it is something that is going to support the journey that they're on. So we're calling that intent here, call it journey. We're calling it value here, call it authority, call it, value. Just make sure that you're not tooting your own horn, that you're delivering something that your customer, your audience can leverage, and that you have a little bit of understanding and insight for what that could look like. Then I mentioned earlier that the channel that you use might dictate the format. So be intentional about sort of where you're going to reach your audience. This is where I think we get to have the most fun experimenting. Pick a lane, but then sort of see what kind of engagement you might get elsewhere. We seem to be doing a lot more, getting a lot more engagement right now by taking some of our longer form stuff that we publish on YouTube, share it on LinkedIn, but then making YouTube shorts. We get more engagement on the little snippets of these conversations than on the long form, but that's sort of a pipeline strategy, right? So get some interest, grab some attention. Those who are like, hey, interesting, let's watch the whole video, are going to click through. Then they're really interested, they're going to get in touch, right? So the content's doing the job for us.
I like the question, what is your capacity? Because what we do see is there's some organizations that think they should just cast the wide net.
Oh yeah.
And then so they go to every channel.
Yeah.
And nothing makes sense.
Yeah. It's spray and pray. Doesn't work.
And then they don't have anybody to do any follow-up. Right.
Yeah. On that slide though was also comfort zone. Yes. Like if you cannot find your way to hitting record on a video camera, don't let that stop you from proceeding. Do Correct. What is comfortable for you. If it's the written word, fine. It's better than nothing.
Yep.
And I'm not saying video is the only way to do it either, right? We have our
infographic. Yeah, there's tons of different ways to
exactly
be creative.
So if you're struggling to get off the start line, I think that's quite often one of the first barriers. And just do what you know you can do. Don't, it's if you're in a professional setting and everybody's saying LinkedIn, but that's not your vibe, and you love TikTok and you know how to make that work or how to engage with that, great. There's tons of professional content on TikTok.
Yes.
So it's about making sure you got that channel down intentionally. That will sort of probably help you into the format question. The reason for this slide is consistency with variation. So
Correct.
Don't do all of this. It's more important to have the message consistency, but then do what you can to add some variety and variation to the delivery.
Know your audience here, right? Because you're going to have audience
again.
Yeah. Because if your audience is, older,
right,
they may not like video coming from YouTube. That might not even be where they go.
Right. And then the last slide to talk about here is the governance around this.
Yeah.
So making sure that you don't just go with your own gut on brand and voice, that it is intentional. You have that understood, that you've got some structure around it, that you've established accountability teams, and that you have a cadence to making sure that you're following the right publication.
Now, I know we didn't add anything in terms of like governance on, what is or what isn't, but I think AI in this case is governance that needs to.
You mean you need to apply governance to your AI?
You need to, you need to have your organization just like you do.
Right.
I remember we had this internally and I got in trouble because I used AI for something and I shouldn't have. And it was a good case. It was a good case to look at from the content perspective, because that's what I used it for. But then it was without the policy. So having the policy in place really allows us to be a little bit more, mindful about it, and the people need to know it.
You know what? It's coming up. We're being asked all the time for it. If we're going to work with you, we want to know how you're using AI.
Yep.
And making sure that you have some understanding and parameters and direction and coaching available for the team that's producing your content. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
All right. So before we close out, we shared our content planning sheet here. This is sort of the one pager to make sure that you've not forgotten to think about all the things that you want to talk about. So some of the topics that you want to talk about, it's, some space to kind of brainstorm there. We've got title. The idea is that you kind of shift from thinking about generally topic to being more precise about how to implement that. We've got a couple of boxes for audience, because maybe you have a couple of them, not just one. You're thinking wholesomely about the channels you want to use, and there's a big checklist here, and we'll reiterate now in the moment. Don't check them all. Pick one, pick two. Only add more as you have capacity. Use that and your audience understanding to choose the format that is appropriate. Stick where you've got your comfort zone. Make sure that you're doing this with the right governance structure in place. Surround it with your brand guidelines. Make sure you've got those accountability structures in place, and make sure you've got some kind of routine that keeps you accountable following those guidelines.
I love it. I'll just make one last point.
Yeah.
Customer of ours last year used this sheet during the audience. When you're looking at your audience, it has to be backed by data, right?
Yeah.
So that person, she asked me, like, you can't just put audience. If you can actually show it through GA4, whatever you've got, to say this is the audience that we have, versus coming up with your own.
There you go. All right. Well, we look forward to the next conversation next month. If there's anything we can help with, please reach out. You can find us on LinkedIn as always. Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Take care.